Good morning, Harold Agyeman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
And welcome to the Breakfast with Papa micro series. We're here with Harold Agyeman, who is, he was the Director Administration of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he's dealt with recruitment and advisory services and human capacity building when it comes to foreign service officers. Harold, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly you do?
Thank you very much, Papa. The job that I'm entrusted to do is basically a function within the Administration Bureau, as you have rightly said. And my responsibilities, to a large extent, also related to the development of the staff in terms of their training and other personal development. My responsibilities were to attract and retain the best that the country had, as well as to ensure that whilst they are in the service, they develop their capacity to compete with the world. Invariably, as a foreign ministry, our scope of operations is not national only, but also international. And so we need to send the best and the brightest to put the best foot of Ghana forward, so that we can achieve maximum results for the country. And so my responsibilities has also included ensuring that we give them the skills, the knowledge and the competences which makes them able to compete with the world and to bring the results that Ghana Incorporated requires as a result of the mandate that we have in the policy planning process.
And it looks like we need to be doing a lot of collaboration, and because the Breakfast with Papa series is basically around that concept where we're trying to empower the youth to be able to compete effectively globally, and it looks like that's what your area is as well. Harold, generally, when you are looking at, in the hiring process of attracting what would be potential foreign service officers, what do you look out for people who've just graduated college and are applying for this type of work?
The type of people who we require in this ministry or in the diplomatic service are people, first of all, who have a capacity to learn and a capacity to persevere. The academic requirements are broad. We have taken people from the science backgrounds right to the humanities, to the arts backgrounds. The essential requirements for a person to enter the diplomatic service is that for the professional cadre, you need a first degree. And it does not matter which subject discipline that you've had education in. Some of the best diplomats we've had, including Ambassador KB Asante, for instance, was a science student and actually a mathematics teacher at Achimota School. And the reason why we take people from a wide range of backgrounds is that the issues that are considered international relations subjects are wide in scope. We have climate change, for instance, which requires that you should have some scientific understanding of the effects of the sun's rays on the climatic conditions. We have issues like nuclear disarmament, where your scientific background puts you in good stead. But there are issues also of economics and finance. There are issues relating to cyber crimes. There are issues relating to economics. There are issues relating to security and political issues. So we take from a wide range of backgrounds. However, that is only what qualifies you to be considered. It's important that there should be something extra, because as I indicated earlier, we as a country are supposed to be in competition with the rest of the world. And so we need to put up the best and the brightest, our best foot forward as a country. And so what else do you require? I've always advised that for anybody who wants to enter the foreign service, you should have a sense of global awareness. You should be attuned to the global happenings that is occurring every day and every day in and out. you should have a clear sense of the implications of global developments. And when you listen to news reports, you shouldn't assimilate it like anybody else. You should find out what the implications are, first for your country where you live in, and secondly for the globe. Because as a global interconnected world, every event that happens has a connection to other parts of the global system. And so you need to understand what the implications are. And if you do this regularly, even if you don't join the Foreign Service, but you join a banking entity like any of the international or local banks here, certainly that skill that you have trained yourself to acquire over the years will come in handy. Because interest rates, mind you, is a reflection not only of national economic conditions, but also of international changes that are occurring. Depreciation of currencies, these are currencies moving in relative degrees to other currencies. And so there are things that are driving these currencies to move. And so even if you don't enter the Foreign Service, such a skill and such an attribute will certainly be useful in any other profession that you would join. And employers would pay big money or top dollars, as some people say, to have such a person on their team. So these are essentially the things that you need to have. You need to have the right knowledge in terms of the subject area. You need to have the skills in negotiations, skills in communication, skills in working across cultures and other areas. However, if you don't have all these skills developed to the level that is required in the Foreign Service, certainly as you are brought into the service, you would be given opportunity to develop these skills. And also you need to bring in some attributes that relate to your own behavior, things that ensure that you're able to succeed. Because if you have all the right knowledge, if you have all the right skills, but your attributes are bad, then certainly it will not take you far in the public service, nor in the Foreign Service. And so your attributes need to be right and hinge on the professional values which the public services in Ghana generally share. Professionalism, integrity, honesty, transparency, values of selflessness, of commitment to the public which we serve. These are very key values which anybody wanting to join the Foreign Service and wanting to serve in any public capacity should have. And so, in a nutshell, I would say that these are what any prospective person seeking to join the public service or the diplomatic service should have, and which we consider during the interview process to ensure that we have the right people for the right job.
Okay, Harold, to wrap it up, I'd like to know if you had 3 or 4 points that you needed to give any young person out there who's looking for a job or who's looking to get employment or who's even looking to further their education. 4 things they should take note of or become aware of or ensure that they are doing right in their lives. What would they be?
The first thing that I would advise is that your background is important, but your background cannot limit you. What I say, or what I mean with this, is that you should not make your background or your personal circumstances, your family circumstances, where you've come from, be a limiting factor to your vision and to the things that you can achieve. A lot of times there are quite many people who would say that, as for me, I come from so and so a background. And the effect is that because you have told yourself that you come from so and so a background, you would not be able to cross certain hurdles, because those hurdles which you need to cross to those levels have no relation with your background, and so it holds you back. So for every young person, particularly those who may have come from not too well-to-do homes, I want to encourage you that don't let your backgrounds be a limiting factor. As a Christian, I believe that we all have equal rights to be under this earth, under the sun. And God has placed us in equal position. And so your vision should be the guiding factor. So the second point is that have a vision. And when I say have a vision, I don't mean that just have some dream in your mind. I would actually encourage young people to put in writing the vision that you have in terms of what you want to be in 4 years' time, what you want to be in 10 years' time, what do you want to be in 15 years' time, what do you want to be in 30 years' time. Put it down so that it's visible to you. And it might surprise you when you do such a simple exercise that it can actually drive you towards that vision. I personally, when I finished the university, decided to put down a few things of what I wanted to see my life turn out in a couple of years, and I found it to be a truly useful exercise. It is part of the process of galvanizing your confidence. Because in life, the path which you set for yourself may not necessarily be the same journey that your life takes. But where the vision is there, it gives you that confidence to come back to your original ideals. And most of the time, particularly for young students, when you come out from the university, you are quite idealistic, which is a good thing. But when you start to work, that idealism could go down. But if you do certain things at a time where the ideal is high, when the motivation is strong, then even when you are being sucked down by the day-to-day drudgery, you're able to hold on to something that is significant. And so the vision should be there. The third is be confident in yourself, but do not be arrogant. In Ghana, we tend to sometimes mistake confidence with arrogance. The two are not the same. Confidence is knowing what you are capable of and going out to do it. Arrogance may be more disrespectful of others. So let us be confident in ourselves. Let us be confident in ourselves as young people, as people who want to achieve great visions. I remember once when I went for an interview for a finance job, and I had studied in the humanities and I had studied political science and philosophy. And I went for a job which was a purely accounting job. And at that point in my life, I had come to the conclusion that there's nothing I cannot do, even including going to do sciences if I needed to. And I used to be a maths phobia person. But I'd come to that conclusion at some point in my life that God has given us all equal capacity to achieve and do anything that we want to do. And so when I went for that job, what happened was that that job generally takes 2 interview processes. I went for only 1 interview. I was hired for the job, and even though I delayed, the job waited for me because the people who interviewed me found me to be suitable. So develop your confidence. Know what the job entails. Read around it. And this was a job which was in a professional accounting firm, auditing and consultancy. I had done philosophy. What was the link? If you do philosophy, you ask questions. Life is generally about asking questions. It's not about having answers ready-made and accepting them. If you want to excel, you should always question the reality which you are presented with. And one of the issues that I said at that interview, I remember clearly, was that philosophers were great not because of the answers they gave, but because of the questions they asked. And so, as a youthful person, always ask questions. Never readily accept answers that are given, because these are based on the realities of a given situation. But ask your own questions and come to your own conclusions and your own answers. And that way, your confidence will always be there and you achieve the excellent heights that I'm sure you wish for yourself. Lastly, I always say that as a Christian, I place God first, because life is not only a physical experience, it is also a spiritual experience. And so you need to have a relationship with your Maker. You need to have a relationship that ensures that when all odds are down, when all the odds are against you, you can call on a superior power to intervene in your situation. And I'm sure that with these 4 points, no matter the circumstances that one is faced with, certainly you would find that it helps you to cope. And not only to cope, but to excel.
I'm very sure of that. Thank you very much, Harold, for joining us today and on these micro series. And we've been here, if you join us, we've been here with Harold Agyeman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's a Foreign Service officer, a very diligent one at that. And I would like to commend him and thank him for giving us this opportunity to ask him a few questions and to share with the youth. Thank you, and see you again.
Thank you very much.